Hi, I'm Cody Anderson, one of the pastors at Parker United Methodist Church. We are in a sermon series called Mental Health and Faith, You Are Not Alone. I think the hard thing for us is that when our mental health is in an unhealthy place, when we are feeling overwhelmed and burnt out and exhausted and have feelings of depression or anxiety, we do feel very much alone, especially in our world and especially in the church. Because when we think about a good and faithful Christian, we think of somebody who's always full of joy, is always able to help, always able to say yes, always able to handle all of the things because they are blessed and highly favored. Have you ever heard that statement before? Blessed and highly favored. What does that even mean? To me, it puts these Christian people, the idea of Christian people, up on a pedestal. So that's why we've been doing this sermon series. We think it's so important for us to be authentic and real about how life is, because for all of us who are following Jesus, we're all still human. At least I know I am. I know that there are times where I suffer from burnout, where I am so overwhelmed, I'm so exhausted, and it just doesn't feel like I can carry anything else. And so I begin to shut down. I know that there are times where my depression takes over, when I suffer from clinical depression and I have to take my meds. Am I being faithful enough to God? Is that why I carry this affliction? Those are things that pop up into my head. And I know that they pop up into other people's heads too. Maybe you don't even suffer from depression, but you have those moments of just feeling like so overwhelmed, so much grief, so much that you just don't know if you can even get out of bed. And you wonder where is God's goodness in the midst of that? And on Sunday, Pastor Laura talked with us about anxiety. Anxiety, something that I think all of us can relate to, because we've all had varying different levels of anxiety, of worry, of fear, of anxious thoughts that just run through our heads. And when you have the scriptures that say, do not be afraid, what do we do with that? What do we do with the Bible when what it speaks is different than how we're feeling? So, on my mental health journey, I've learned a few tools that have helped me. Number one, the importance of drinking water, right? Sometimes I forget to take care of myself, to drink water, to eat healthy, but when I do that, I actually feel better. It's the same with going for walks or getting outside in the sun. Doesn't mean I necessarily always want to do it, but when I do it, I feel better. That a couple weeks ago, I shared that breath prayer. When I take a moment to just sit and center myself and to take deep breaths, I feel better, right? There's little tools that we can do to help us reconnect to ourselves and also to our spirituality. One of those ways that I like to do is by putting together puzzles. Now this puzzle, this is the picture of the puzzle, was given to me. It's a mandala. And if you know mandala, it is one of those tools that a lot of times people use in prayers. We color them and we think about the way that everything is symmetrical, everything is connected, and it helps us to remember that we're connected with God and that we're connected with each other and that God is all around us, even in those tough times. But I also just like to do puzzles. I mean, for me, there's something that is so easy and relaxing to just sitting down and putting a couple of pieces of a puzzle together. Now, I know that's not the same for everyone, right? We're all different, but there's something about picking up a puzzle piece and just sitting and trying to see if it fits together. And I love this puzzle because look at how vibrant the colors are and the shapes. Like this is a leaf. It's just kind of fun, some kind of like plant type thing. So anyway, I was thinking about puzzles this week, thinking about how a beautiful puzzle put together is just one of those things that you can admire, right? And sometimes that is how our mental health is. Our mental health is a beautiful picture of everything going right, of everything in our minds, making us feeling healthy and strong. And then there are times where our mental health is a lot like this bag of puzzle pieces. It's just all over the place. It's too much to carry. It's just too much. And we often can get overwhelmed by all of the different pieces, all of the things that feel so heavy, all of the things that aren't going well, all of the worries that we have. It can just feel like too much. And what do we do when we just have too much? Too much worry, too much anxiety, too much. I can't even hold it all. That's when it starts to spill out into our lives, right? When we try to stuff so much inside of us, when we try to carry so much, we are not meant to be able to carry it all. And we're not meant to be able to carry it all on our own. And so we try because we're taught to be self-sufficient and to be quiet and to keep our worries and our thoughts to ourselves. And we even forget sometimes to pray to God or to ask others to pray for us. And so we just keep taking these puzzle pieces and we just keep shoving them in to our bag until we can't carry them anymore. There's no more room, there's no more space. And then have you noticed that when you're in that space where there's no more room, there's no more space, all it takes is one little thing to just ruin it all, to dump it all out, to explode everywhere onto everybody. So for me, a lot of times it comes out with my kids, right? I've been having so much stuff going on. I'm carrying so much grief, so much burden, so much worry and anxiety. And it's one little thing like, Mom, can you sign this paper for me? It was due last week and I just explode, right? Or maybe it's, I'm feeling so anxious and I'm worried about how we're gonna pay for this. And I'm worried about my kids' safety. And I'm worried about if we're gonna be able to go on this trip. And I'm worried about my parents' health. And I'm worried, I'm anxious. And somebody bumps into me in the grocery store and I just explode. You see, we can try to carry all of our burdens, and yet we're not meant to do that on our own. And they just start to go all over. I wonder what it's like to be able to be honest and to share about our worries and concerns. I wonder what it's like to ask somebody to come and to sit with you and to see how you might be able to share your story and fit your puzzle pieces together to make a little bit more sense. I wonder what it might be like to be vulnerable, to share about those times where you're feeling anxious or afraid or worried, and you're able just to sit down with a friend and to be honest, to say, I'm really hurting, I'm really struggling. I don't need you to fix it, but can you just listen just for a minute? Maybe help me make sense out of it, or be reminded that I'm not alone. Remind me to take a deep breath, to grab that drink of water, maybe invite me to go for a walk, or just remind me that God is with me. I think one of the most powerful words that Jesus speaks to us is that one, cast all your cares and your worries onto me. Bring all of those worries, cast them all onto me. I think that if we were able to do that with God, I think that if we were able to do that with one another, our burdens would be so much lighter. And we might be able to find a little bit of peace, even in the midst of the chaos. We'd be able to understand that we are human, which means we're not always going to be healthy, even in our minds, our spirits, our bodies, but that God still loves us and is with us and wants life-giving things for us. Maybe those relationships can be life-giving to us. And even in the darkest times when you can't get out of bed, or when your heart is racing and you can't catch your breath, just having somebody there reminding you that you're not alone could be the place that brings grace and love and peace. So friends, I want you to hear that you're not alone. You're not alone with feeling like you're burnt out or overwhelmed, exhausted. You're not alone if you're feeling depressed or saddled with grief. You're not alone if you're feeling anxious, if you're having panic attacks, if you're worried, if you're fearful. You are not alone. So reach out. Reach out to someone. Be a little vulnerable. Share your story. And maybe somebody will share theirs as well. And just see what happens. See how it is an invitation for God to enter in to our broken, messed up, but still beautiful lives. And see how we might be able to build something beautiful in our own lives and together. May it be so.